Why is one of the highest
Corona.
IQ countries on Earth eating bats in soup with the fur still on it?
It's almost like they cheat at testing and we're wrong about that whole IQ thing.
You can't really cheat on an IQ test, though, unless you have an answer sheet in front of you.
Who's given the tests?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the Russians in the fucking 2012 Olympics. Like, you can't really cheat on a urine test. Oh, unless we drill a hole in the wall and send a robot in to take the urine sample and replace it with these specially manufactured bottles.
You could just take the test a couple
holy
times.
Shit,
That
that's
takes
devious
a
as
high
fuck.
IQ. Yeah.
I remember I took an online IQ test. Wanted an even higher result. Took it again. Learned from my mistakes. Genius.
Excellent.
I've taken. I mean, there is not a single online IQ test that you can take that will say, "Whew, you are a doozy." They're all like, "You're my man. You're a genius. You knew exactly the difference between a triangle and an octagon."
What I'm talking
right
about
away.
actually is the Mensa. You can take, or you could anyway, the Mensa entrance exam. You have to have a certain IQ for what, top 2%? Is that what they say? They are?
Yeah, but Mensa's a scam as well. Like, people with an IQ of 150 don't join organizations that say they have an IQ of 150 because they make lots of money. You know, like they don't do that. Or that was my always understanding. Is like,
you ever watched
the
the
only
Stern
person who
Show?
wants to join Mensa is someone who's like kind of insecure about it.
Took
You ever
me
do
2
the Stern
tries to pass the test. Just saying.
You ever watch the
You
Stern
do
Show where
better.
they do
That's
the
how you
IQ?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that one.
So they've done it a couple times, and everybody in the crowd takes the IQ test, except for Howard, of course.
That proves he's actually the smartest.
Yes, checkmate, boys. And so like they start getting these bets together, and they get like a pregame where like two guys are arguing. I know I'm smarter than you, you piece of shit. Fuck you, I'm smarter. And they start coming with awful bets about what's going to happen if this guy loses or that guy loses. And then there's a score reveal after they have a properly administered IQ test.
Who are the people?
done.
I want to guess the higher scores.
It's everybody in the room, right?
Well,
You know,
they've
I
had a lot of different casts over the years.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't have them memorized,
Oh,
but
okay.
I want to say Gary has like 109 IQ, 110. You know, just above average.
it's
Yeah.
whatever.
You know,
I always
think a
thought
lot.
Fred would do curiously well.
Let me see if I can find Fred's, because Fred is, in my opinion, Fred is probably an actual like savant of some kind.
There was a funny clip on Twitter of like some gaming team, I guess, that for
150.
content was like, yeah, that's incredibly fucking smart. But there was a you know, not YouTube, professional gaming team, whatever it's called, and they were all doing like an online IQ test or maybe a real IQ test, and it was like 110, 107, you know, 125. 99, 106, and then one poor fucker got up there and took it and got an 87 or something, and everybody's like, oh, and that's not the kind of like diss you can get over. You can't be like, nuh-uh. Like you're gonna kind of have to be like, fuck, dude.
The worst part of this is I can't come up with a comeback.
Yeah, damn it.
I don't have any
I were
winning
smarter.
I actually have the scores here if you care. Like I know Woody listens a little bit, so you might know Sal Governale, former stockbroker, became a key part of the show doing writing, and he did a lot of the phone bits. 102 IQ. He always seemed like kind of a dope who was a little bit creative, but not really. More of a shock sort of comedy guy. JD Harmeyer. You know, he's the guy who has a bit of a speech impediment. He mumbles a lot, and he was famous for like not washing his sheets for an entire year and being kind of gross and a bit of an incel.
That's not gross. That's normal.
106. He's also a horrendous looking human being.
So that's a little above average too.
Ralph Sorella, who's I believe that's Howard's hairstylist and good friend, 112, quite high. Richard Christie, who is the redneck from Kansas, who grew up eating raccoon and possum and all that nonsense, 117. Pretty impressive from Richard. John Kaplan with a 118. I'm not all that familiar with him. Scott DePace lost to John Kaplan. I think those are the two who had the bet going. And I'm looking for more. Let's see. Howard noted that each scored within a point of each other, but with a score of 122, Scott DePace was declared the winner. Gary Delabate was no slouch with 121. I was wrong about what I said earlier. So yeah, they all did interestingly. I believe they tested some other people, like maybe a whack packer or something like that, and it was tellingly low, like in the 70s or something like that, like a literal Forrest Gump type situation.
In the 70s?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the whack packers are
They're
Actually
disabled.
retarded.
I mean, they're the definition of retardation, right?
Right.
What's the cutoff for retarded again? Because like before PC stuff, there used to be like
It used to
the
be
categories
70.
were like
And I don't,
idiot, retard, moron. Like moron was an actual one.
like medical term, yeah.
You're a moron, Mr. Voss.
I wonder if that'll happen to autistic at some point, right? Because now like autist and autistic is used so much as like a dig. If they'll change, like back in the 2020s, they actually called people artistic. That was like a medical diagnosis. It
Well,
wasn't
we're
just-
not letting that one slip through our fingers, boys. we're not letting that one slip through. We're keeping that strong, keeping it tight. Yeah, those things are interesting. And this was Kyle. This was a real IQ test, not an
Yes,
online.
they had to
silliness
go
one.
to they had to go to a place, or they had a professional administer the test. So they even had one of the parts of the test is
pattern recognition and puzzle solving. Yeah,
pattern
With your
recognition and puzzle
hands, like
solving.
tactile
Exactly.
response.
So you've got like things in front of you that you have to move around and manipulate in the desired in the described manner. And so you can't really do that online. You know, I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be the same. It'd be different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they did a legitimate IQ test, the same way that they do a lie detector test. They have a guy who like spent his life administering lie detector tests come in, and you know, have you ever had? He's got this awful voice. If you're a Stern fan, you'll right. Have you ever had feelings for another man? Have you ever been sexually attracted to another man? Have you had an erection because of another man? Like things like that down this whole line. And then there's the big reveal at the end. And it's just all these humiliating things. Whenever there's like a little disagreement between like staff members or between Howard and somebody, you know what? Let's get the lie detector guy in here. We'll get to the bottom of this.
See, that's a good bit.
Did you
but-
indeed piss on the lid of the toilet seat? Did you ever use Howard's toilet when he was not here? It's just
I mean, like
nonsense
you can get a lot of replicability and validity out of IQ tests, but from a fucking lie detector, how reliable is that shit?
Not at
Like,
all. So lie
really?
detectors are not at all. I've done a
Yeah, I
lot
didn't
of research
think
about
so.
lie detector tests. They are not at all reliable.
It measures
It's just
how
measuring
anxious
like
you are.
psychosomatic responses. Yeah, how anxious you are. So if you're a naturally anxious person, maybe you get off.
Ted Bundy
because
passed his,
your
by the
your
way.
baseline test, you're already so anxious that your normal.
so
It's like you
Sociopaths.
could, my strategy for a lie detector, don't know if it would work, is to be anxious for the baseline test. When they say, "Is that your name?" I'll be like, oh. Like try and fuck with it. And then do calm, but like I'll have a natural anxiousness, and hopefully they equal, and my lies look like truths.
So you can put a thumbtack in your shoe.
I've heard of that on
before-
TV.
Yeah.
Is
yeah,
that
before you-
true?
I don't know.
Yes. You ever step on a thumbtack even a little bit? Your heart rate
Not on my
Uh,
own volition. Yeah.
your heart rate jumps up. You'll have this flash bit of like a heat flash. You'll perspire a little bit. All things that are measured by this thing.
I'll ask
You'll-
you if there's a thumbtack in your shoe and find out.
like,
Well,
Fuck, Woody. Just
he's wearing flip flops.
I just
I
just
can
like
see
they
the
would
blood.
figure out that one thing.
I've
You've
actually
been
read that the
busted.
entire point of lie detector tests is kind of like the same as like the drug dogs, right? Or whatever. Basically, they're trying to use it as a tool to get you to admit the shit.
Yep.
And right, like it's just another tool for them to get you to
It's an
sign a confession,
interrogation
right?
tactic.
Right.
It's a thing to throw you off of your game. I've had lawyers tell me many times, like, never do that. Never do that. Never give the cops your phone. Never take a lie detector test. Like, there's a whole bunch of them. Y'all have to pay for your own legal advice. I did, but they'll tell you, any lawyer will tell you, no, it's bullshit. Don't fucking do that. It's nonsense. Yeah, it's interrogation tactic. You remember that episode of The Wire when they've got this poor gentleman who has actually committed a murder or something like that. And they I don't remember exactly how they hooked him up, but like they duct taped a wire to each of his fingers and walked him over to the copy machine. And they're just copying a piece of paper that says lie over and over. They're like, did you do it? Nah, man, I didn't do it. Beep, beep. And he goes, and it just is a photocopy.
It just says lie.
Lie. He goes, shit.
Dude, I've never watched The Wire, but that is a hilarious premise for a good sketch comedy bit.
There's
That's
this
funny.
scene where